Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I'm doing a share screen. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? How do I change the thumbnail? Hello, hello. So you can hear me. Big ups to the people not watching the stream right now. There's currently 0 people in here. Am I late? Right, I've got to figure this out. I've got to figure out how to even get a fucking... I don't even know how to put a thumbnail here. Customization. It's not letting me put a thumbnail. That's great. That's great. But big ups anyone in the chat right now. First live stream. Thought I'd try something a little different. We've got basically going to be recording videos in real time. There's not going to be anything bad said, so don't get worried by that. I'm just here to have a good time. Basically, I wanted to do streaming for quite a while. Obviously, YouTube videos is still my main thing, still going to be my main thing. But I have got a Twitch channel. Haven't really posted a lot on there. And to be honest with you, as I said, YouTube's my main thing, so I want to get as many people seeing me on here than on there, and then having to get them over here, because not wrong with Twitch, but I'm more asked about this. Didn't even know I could do this, because I thought you had to have 50 subs, and I don't have 50 subs. So if you're watching this live or not live, then please hit that subscribe button. It would mean a lot. But we're going to go through a few things today. We're going to talk about Maresca, the future of Man City, and also something more personal to me, the best and worst games that I've been to. I am going to upload these as YouTube videos. I don't know how good the quality is on here, so I am also going to be recording on my phone, but don't worry, I'm going to be looking at you at the same time, so don't think I'm like focusing on something else. All right. But yeah, big ups to you whether you're watching live or not. A bit different today. I mean, I know I usually do football stuff, but I am tapped into the game. You know, I've seen Ludwig, a streamer university, saying, yeah, if you're streamer, then you need to do this to get these videos. And I thought, don't get me wrong, I'm a YouTuber. Some of it probably still applies to me, but, you know, I think I'll be better at streaming, making videos, getting the videos out than I will be at making videos and getting clips, because not fucking funny. Just got ball knowledge, mate. So let's get straight into it. I will have to settle my tripod, so give me a minute. Look at this technology. Little tripod, phone. So anyone wants to chat to you, shush. I don't know how to change the thumbnail. It's pissing me off. Let me see if I can change the thumbnail one sec. YouTube Studio. Make sure I don't get my login in here. Fucking hell. Sorry, hang on 1 second. This is very unprofessional of me, but there's no one in here, so I can get kind of away for it for now. How do I want to change the... I change the thumbnail. There we go. There we go. That should be a bit better. Save. Hoping that's saved. Let me check on YouTube. Yes. We've got a new thumbnail. Let's fucking go, guys. Let's fucking go. But yeah. Don't get me wrong, I don't do scripts, but I do notes. The main reason I want to live stream is because I feel like when I do the videos, I am still going to put them into videos, but when I just record them offline, I feel like I know the editing's there. So when I'm constantly thinking of ideas and then I stumble on my words, which I do a lot. So you might notice that in this. Not to say that just because I'm live, it's going to completely erase. Probably going to see a lot in this. But I stumble on my words a lot and then I forget what I'm saying and then I stop for about 2 minutes and then I have to rethink. Plus, don't usually write notes down, which means that all the points I thought of in my head when I thought of the video idea just completely go. So yeah, that's not great, is it? There's nothing in here that is unnecessary. We've got the Boya mics. No sponsor, but if you want to sponsor me, I'd be very happy to do so. I don't think they're going to do a sponsor with anyone on less than 50 subs, but who fucking knows, mate? Let's get this set up. Let's test the mic out. Like you're seeing some top quality shit right here, mate. Some tech geek, for sure. Get the mic on, make sure it's working. Hello. See if that's on. Hello. I think I have hello. So look, if you're on the video, then you can see me streaming. If you're streaming, then you can see me recording the video. As you can see there, currently 0 people in. It is the first stream, so not too shabby. Plus, I am on 37 subs, so it's going to be at the end of the day. I am filming this on my phone just so we get a bit better quality because, as you can see, I'm filming this straight through my MacBook, straight through YouTube because I'm unexperienced at this and I haven't got enough dough. So you're going to have to bear with me a bit, but yeah. Let's get into the videos. I don't even know if I'm going to include this, but yeah, just a little bit there for you. A little bit of lore. Okay. So that's set up. Let's get that there. My hair's always shit, but it's looking extra shitty today. Fuck, it's fine. Boy, and Mike. Get it on to the side a bit. Alright, so it's all about my notes. I know it's red. I couldn't find a different one. It was given to me actually, but no red shite on here. So fuck United. Anyway, what I wanted to discuss was obviously the future of Man City, which is the thing that I'm going to get into first before I get into the best and worst games. Up here is my camera, so I'm probably going to divert camera. I'm looking at my MacBook for my stream. I'm looking up there on my phone camera, so probably going to be a bit in between the both of you. That's why that's right this on this, because I'm using all my devices to record the video and stream at the same time. So it's a bit going on here, to be fair. But yeah, Enzo Maresca, it's a process. We have to understand that he is not Pep Guardiola. I think everyone's come to that understanding that Enzo Maresca is not Pep Guardiola, which is why I don't really understand the kind of drop my notes discourse that's been going on online, particularly from online fans. I'm probably being a bit harsh saying online fans because, you know, I mean, first of all, I'm online giving my opinion, and so some of these people are probably match-going fans to just post some of their opinions online. That's fair enough, but I just think, sorry, it is a process, you know, so it's going to take time. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that Maresca or Viana, the board, whatever you want to call it, does not deserve any criticism, whether it be now or across the season. There is things that I point out myself at the board, but over the couple of weeks since the World Cup particularly has ended and we've been more properly into the club football stuff, I have gained a recognition that, look, it's completely different to what Pep was. And I talked about it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows like it was under Pep. Well, let's be honest with you. Before Pep, Mancini and Pellegrini both won stuff, both did great things for the club. Obviously, Mancini won us our first Premier League title. No, we won 2 top flight titles before that, but our first Premier League title and FA Cup as well. Pellegrini won us the Premier League in his first season and a cup in his first season as well, and then another cup in his last season. Plus Pellegrini until Guardiola came in and we won it. Got us to the first ever point we've been in the Champions League in his last season. So there was definitely good things under those two. However, there was also very bad things under those two. I am not in the video that you're watching because it's a cut down version, but in the stream that I'm doing right now, so get over there if you're not watching. I am going to be doing my best and worst City games in which I can bring up a game from Pellegrini. I'll bring up another one that I didn't go to, which kind of seals the point. You know, we had a Champions League game coming up. We played Chelsea. The Chelsea team that finished 10th, by the way, in 15-16. And you think in some cup games now we played the youngsters. Well, we were playing the youngsters then, I'll tell you that. And we got beat like 5-1 or 6-1 in the cup to Chelsea. So there's definitely been rocky days. And even if you want to go to Pep Guardiola himself, as much as obviously this isn't, you know, anything to slight on him or anything, he has had some rocky patches himself. Let's be quite honest. I mean, I'm 18 years of age. I was born in 2007. So in my lifetime, I've only really seen success. There's a lot of older fans, obviously, who were in the days of like League Two and stuff. And, you know, well, when I was one, we nearly went bankrupt. So, you know, there's a lot of things that have happened pre-Pep, pre-Mancini even. So we've got to understand this is different. And even Pep himself, which is what I was going to say, he's lost quite a lot of games towards the start of the season. So if you're someone that's sitting there thinking, oh, Maresca doesn't do well in his first 5 games, doesn't do well in his first 10. Am I saying loses his first 5, loses his first 10, all of them, that he should just get, you know, be allowed to carry on? No. But, you know, that's probably not likely because we were in a good enough squad to at least win a couple of games. But Pep never really had a good start to the season either, even when we won titles, even when we won the treble, the domestic treble, the Centurions and stuff. A couple of seasons ago, we lost 5-2 to Leicester. That was the first home game of the season. Sorry, there's something on my computer. Second game of the season. Season after that, we lost to Spurs when they had Nuno. He lasted, about a couple of months, and we lost the first game to him at Tottenham, who, by the way, had no Kane because we were looking at him. And like the 18-19 season, we lost 4 games. Liverpool only lost 1 that season. All 4 of those games came in the first half of the season. So we have to give Maresca time. And one thing I don't want to see is us becoming as divided as other fan bases. We've seen, I'm not saying that they don't get behind the club, as much as I hate them. I'm not saying they don't get behind the club, so don't get your knickers in a twist. I said knickers there, as in like panties. No, someone else. So don't get on to me for that. We don't want to be like United fans. Like I said, they probably all get together and get behind the team when the game's on. But we know, especially since Fergie's left, there has been a big divide within the United fan base itself. I do not want to see that, and I feel like people are starting to do that already. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm a younger fan in comparison to older fans who are at Main Road and stuff. When I'm going to the games now and I see Maresca ball and it's not really working out, of course, like we all will, I'm going to be reminiscent of the Pep Guardiola days and how well we were doing under Pep. But we can't use that to diss Maresca. Something else you've got to understand is, in his last season, yes, Pep, in my opinion, still had a very good season, winning the 2 trophies, winning the cups. But Pep didn't win the league in his last season. Pep also didn't win the league in his first season. So if your expectation is Maresca wins the league or he's out, well, we didn't do that with Pep. Do you know what I mean? Pep came in to win the Champions League in his first season. That was actually his main aim. He didn't win it till he didn't win it till 23. So what was that? 7 years into his spell. First season, we got knocked out in the round of 16 to Monaco. Do you know what I mean? That was his expectation. We didn't sell him because what? It was a process, and that's what we need to understand under Maresca. And one thing I did see, I do watch a lot of streams and stuff, And one of them that I watch is the Mancunian Way. Now, I was listening to a stream the other night. It was not when he was live, it was a bit after. But, a little bit of chill time, like watching stuff. And I saw that he was saying that he was getting called a main road wanker. Now, like I said, I'm a younger fan. I was born in 2007. I've only ever seen success. But these people, these fans, these older fans were there in the harder times. Some of them had to go through it in the childhood, teenage years, early 20s, early 30s. They've been through the shit. The worst we've been through probably, and I know we finished lower, but in terms of period of form where we were shocking, the worst we've been in is probably 24, 25 in the middle of the season when we got like 1 win in 13 games across all competitions, and we still ended up in third. Like, that's the worst. These lot have seen us in lower leagues. Like I said, when I was 1, we nearly went bankrupt. If it weren't for Sheikh Mansour, we probably would have went bankrupt. So, we've got to accept that. I also listened to the likes of like Big Steve. He was saying that when he was younger, I think his mate asked him or something, would you take an FA Cup before you die at City? They both said yes, because that was the state that they're in. And I'm not saying we don't appreciate, I certainly do appreciate an FA Cup, but in comparison to them, that would have been everything, especially the first one when we won against Stoke. For us, it probably gets slighted a bit more. So we've got to understand there is differences in age, but Martin from the Mancunian Way said he got called a main road wanker, not by rival fans, by our own fan base. This is the sort of stuff that I'm saying is going to divide the fan base. This is the sort of stuff that probably would have divided the Man United fan base, along with obviously their owners and stuff. But this is the sort of stuff that we don't need to do. I've talked about not getting on Maresca's back early. Don't be getting on the fans back early either, especially the fans, if anything. Maresca, even if he does well, he's going to come and go. The fans are going to still be here. So stop getting on their backs. Plus, if anything, they should be having a go at us for calling us plastics, because we've only been here with success. They've been here in the shit. They've been here through the success. They've deserved the success because they've been through the shit. So stop having a go at them. I don't know him personally either, so before anyone says, oh, I'm not backing up a friend, never met him. Do like him, do like his streams and stuff, but that's all I'm saying on that. And I know that probably is a minority, so that probably doesn't apply to a lot of you, but I just thought I had to get out there. Something else I wanted to touch on. Also, Viana. Look, like I said, Maresca has expectations, yes, but I think something people don't understand is you can still have the same expectations based on the squad and stuff as we did under Guardiola, but the leniency on it has to be different. For instance, Pep won Centurions in 17-18, domestic treble / formidable squad. I don't count the Community Shield because that's not a real trophy for me. 1920, we won a Carabao Cup. That was a shit season for our standards, apparently. That's how harsh the expectations were because of what he'd done in the last 2 years before that. Maresca is in his first season. You can have the same expectations. Don't get me wrong. I still want to win the league. I still want to win trophies. Obviously, I would want us to compete on all fronts properly, and I think the squad is good enough to do that. But see, this is what I'm saying. I stumbled too much. This is why I'm doing it on stream. So you see, this is like the uncut bits, the unedited bits. This is the type of bits that if I was able to have members and people signing up, this is the type of thing only members would see. So best count yourself lucky if you're watching this. But yeah, what I was saying is you can still expect us to compete for the league this season, but the leniency is going to be different. And what I mean by that is when Pep won the Carabao Cup, it was like in 1920, and that was it. That was like, that's a poor season. That's a poor season for our very, very high standards, very, very harsh on the leniency. There was no leniency, basically. And then in 24-25, I had some stupid fucking dickheads in the fan base, kind of probably people in the minority that I'm talking about, that said, Pep out, because we had one bad period. Like, come on, after all he's achieved. But that harsh leniency that we didn't have with Pep, and probably deservedly so, because he's shown what he can do with us in previous seasons. So it's like, why aren't we doing that again this season? Well, in those seasons that it was happening. Maresca can have those same expectations of winning the league and stuff, but the leniency can be lower. It can be. What I mean by that is, for me, the absolute bare minimum for Maresca this season, especially with the amount of places that you get in the English league today, of 8 places for Europe. Minimum, bare minimum is Europe. If he did get into Europe without getting Champions League, I'd probably lean on the side of getting him out if it's at the end of the season. I do think the board might keep him though if that was the case. But as I said, I would probably lean to getting him out. For me, the minimum should be Champions League, especially given the fact that the Premier League usually gets 5 places. That should be a minimum for us. If he gets that, I think he stays. Now, am I saying that it's a process to the point where if we get 4th this season, we get 4th next season, we get 4th the season after that, we should just keep going with him? No, because it shows we're not improving. But first season especially has to be lenient. We've all acknowledged how Maresca is nowhere near the level of Pep. In my opinion, he probably will never be, and I'm not just talking at City, I'm talking his whole career, will never be at the level of Pep. But obviously, I hope he will, especially with us, because that means we're winning a shitload. But I don't think he ever will be. So just take that and then understand why you're holding him to the same expectations that you were with Pep, who's the greatest manager our club's ever had. Arguably, definitely, a lot of arguments to be made that he's the best manager there's ever been. So, yeah. And then also Viana, same sort of thing with Maresca. Viana's in a very different job, right? So it's going to take a couple of years. He's a sporting director. He's got to do a lot of different things. Maresca's just got to manage the team, really, and maybe have a little bit of say in the transfers. Viana's been here for 1 year. Now, you can have arguments over this window, but even in this window, we've signed Anderson. Where's everyone gone on Anderson? Why are people going, oh, yeah, we signed Anderson 4 weeks ago, but that's it. Right. First of all, we're looking at Buwadi. I have had my questions over Buwadi, but I'll get into that in a bit. And you've got to understand, a lot of these players got far in the World Cup. So that means they're getting the rest now. That means it's harder to get anywhere with them. So I think after taking a step back for a bit, I think we've still got a month and a bit left of the window. We've got till September. So I think we'll see a lot of movement towards the end of the window, and that's ins and outs. But I'm seeing people say sack Viana because there's little movement. First of all, like I said, Anderson we've brought in. That's a big sign in itself. You compare that to other teams. Liverpool signed 1 player, Victor Munoz. Apparently he's good. Don't know a lot about him. Arsenal just won the league. Yes, they are linked to Guimaraes. Yes, they are linked to Vinicius Jr. But we are also linked to people. Arsenal have only signed 1 player. They've signed 1 player. And that 1 player in comparison to our 1 player, Solis, he might be good. I don't know. Are there good things about him apparently? But I don't know if that's just Arsenal fans trying to big him up. Obviously, they're going to do that. But I don't know a lot about him. You know what I mean? That's the only signing they've actually officially made, and yet we're getting mad when we've made also 1 official signing, our official signing, someone that's going to come in straight away. That Solis fella's probably just a backup for them. So, do you know what I mean? When we compare it to other clubs aren't really moving, which shows you that it's probably just to do with the time and the World Cup. The fact that that's only just ended. Players are going on holiday now instead of when it would have been, if there was no World Cup, it would have been when the World Cup was on. That's why you see a lot of moves happening at this time, usually, but it's different circumstances. Also, Viana was here last season. Viana signed Cherki for 30 mil. Yes, I know we went for him for Wales initially, but we went out on that. We could have went and got in someone that was similar price, but we got Cherki, who actually had a better season than him last season. Cost us 30 mil. I know Donnarumma was at the end of his contract, got him for 25 mil. Gate here, no, he was at the end of his contract, but for a long, long time, it was seeming like Liverpool. If anywhere he goes, it's Liverpool. We come in, we get him. Those are good signings. Even Trafford now, I know he's going, but within a season without only really playing cup games. I've just seen the reported fee that he's going to Leeds for, 40 million. That's a profit on him. So we've got to give it time. I mean, at least to the end of this window. I think the rest of the season, probably next season as well. He's also under a new manager now, so it's a completely different thing with that as well. I'm not doing right now, people. 24 minutes in on stream. Sweat me bollocks off because I've got my window closed because too scared anyone outside hearing me, even though they're probably enemy next door. But yeah, how are we doing? And look, I am not saying you can't criticise them. I'm not saying that. First of all, sorry. I just went back into that. I'm getting used to filming while also streaming, so I've got to acknowledge you lot at the same time whilst also doing that. But I've got no chat at the minute, so it's kind of hard to visualize it. So even if you're not in the chat, if you're watching this as a video after it comes out, then just leave a comment because it'll make me feel a bit better. It'll make me feel a bit better about myself. And also, feel free to leave your thoughts, not just on what I say, but also just generally in the comments on City and what we're doing. But yeah, back to the video. I will still acknowledge you. I also have my own concerns over the club. My point with certain people within the fan base, is that they're sitting there going, sack Viana, sack Maresca. Maresca hasn't even had, never mind a Premier League game, he hasn't had a game. He hasn't even had the Community Shield against Arsenal. He hasn't had a game, not a friendly, nothing. So how can you blame Maresca, first of all? Second of all, what was I going to say? Yeah, what I was going to say is, in terms of the criticism, there's a difference. There's one going, no criticism. There's two, criticism, and then there's three, which is going, sack him. We haven't had enough time under them to say sack them. That's just my point. It's going to the extreme too early. We've got to give them time. After a year, after 2 years, after even after 6 months, we can have a bit more of a proper conversation. But right now, we are in the early phase of what is going to be a long process. So we've got to do that. I have had my own concerns in this transfer market. I did a video on Buwadi. I questioned that one. Nothing wrong with the playoffs. I've only seen him in the World Cup. I know some people have seen him for Lille. Apparently, he's got a lot of potential. He seemed quite decent in the game. Saw him in the World Cup, particularly against Brazil in the first game. I don't have a problem with him. Don't have a problem with his potential. Don't mind him coming in. And that's who it looks like we're strongest to get next after Anderson. But we were told that Maresca is the man that we're bringing in to seamlessly take over from Pep. That, to me, insinuated that we're going to be making big moves, because there was places needed where we had inexperienced players, where we didn't have a lot of quality, which we needed to improve. Then, when we go in for the likes of Buwadi, then when I hear some of the other names that are being questioned, I'm hearing them by. I don't know a lot about them. I searched them up before. Yeah, I know he played for PSG, and I know was he the fella that scored the final goal in the Inter Milan game? I'm not sure, that might have been someone else. But I looked him up. He's played 24 games in the league, and by the way, playing for PSG, I think he's got 3 goals and 4 assists, or the other way around. So people are saying this is the solution. PSG is saying 50 mil for him as well, by the way. Is he the solution? I don't know. That to me is just another process player. So people are sitting there asking for experience and then bringing up these players that are kind of similar to the players that we've already got. So that's my thing. But with Maresca, they said he's going to seamlessly take over. So I thought, okay, well, we need to make some serious signs then, because Maresca's obviously nowhere near to the level of Pep. So it's going to be a lot different. Then when I'm seeing these type of names, I'm thinking, well, Monga, 16, Buwadi, 18. This Mbai, I don't know exactly how old he is, but I think he's quite young. These are young players. This shows that it really is a process, which makes me just think what the club was saying was just kind of things they say to make the fans get on board, to make the fans not concerned that there's going to be some sort of drop off, because they don't want fans to think that, because then they might get on the boards back themselves. So obviously they wouldn't want that. As I've took a step back, obviously it seems that it is a full process, which means it is going to take time. Buwadi could be a great player. Hope he comes in, if he does, straight away and seamlessly takes over. It looks like Rodri's leaving, obviously. I hope that happens. Likeliness is it isn't. He's got to adapt to a new league. He's 18 years of age, and he's essentially, especially if Rodri leaves, going to be seen, to my knowledge, he's a 6. Maybe you can tell me more if you've watched like his games at Lille in particular, if he's not. But to me, an out-and-out 6, which means that he's going to be the main replacement for Rodri, because I see Anderson as a more replacement for Bernardo, which I explained in the video when I did that on Anderson. So yeah, I mean, I have my own concerns. Main point was stop getting on the backs of the manager Viana in particular. And the main point is stop getting on other fans' backs. If we turn against each other, we might as well just sack the whole process off, because the minute it turns to shit, that's it. That is it. And then not only is that going to affect the current state, that's going to affect the next manager, because the next manager is going to look at it and go, well, he didn't win the Premier League in his first season and these went batshit crazy. Do you know what I mean? And then managers are going to look at it and go, well, I have it win the Premier League or I get madman hate. So why would I want to go in there? We do not want to become the club that Man United has become since Fergie left. We want to be different to them. We want to keep winning. Yes, it's probably not going to be as dominant as it was under Pep, but give it hope, give it time. There's clearly an idea there. I think we've got rid of a lot of experienced players, which is why obviously we want a lot of experienced players coming in. I think that is needed to help these young players still, but it is clear that they've brought in young players to be there 2-3 years, and in 3 years they'll be the ready product, which they are not at this current state. So clearly, it's not what they initially said, which is why I had a bit of a thing. I'm not saying I hated them at the club in terms of the board and stuff, but that's why I had a bit of a thing, because they said it's going to be like a seamless takeover with Maresca from Guardiola. It's clearly a completely, obviously we knew it was going to be a transition, but a complete turnaround on that. And that was starting from basically point scratch, bringing all these young players in, getting them into the squad. But yeah, what do you think? I know this might seem like quite an obvious thing. Like I said, this is probably targeting a minority of the fan base, but even if it is just a minority of the fan base, you lot, I'm not getting on your back either, by the way. I'm just saying, stop getting on people's backs. Let's give it a bit of time and we will see. But yeah, that's my opinions. What do you think? It is a process. Let's not get on each other's backs. That's all I need to say. But yeah, that's the first video done, guys. We fucking filmed the first video. Let's fucking go. We're fucking epic on this shit. Now I need to film one more, which is my 3 best and my 3 worst. That one was a bit more of a general chit chat. There's no one in here currently, so I guess I'm addressing the people that may be watching this later in the comments. What do you think of what I've just said? Obviously, that was a generalization to the whole fan base. I just think the main message there was that we stick together. That was the main message. We don't want to come divided. There is criticism that's going to come towards Maresca. It shouldn't come early on because we've had rocky patches in that with Pep and stuff. But yeah, what are your thoughts? Leave in the comments. Next, we'll get on to a bit more of a personalised thing. So let's hit record. We're back on video. So, let me get my notes actually. 1 sec. All right, so I'm still on stream. So if you haven't, go and check me out. I'll be trying to do this probably weekly as much as I can. Whenever I get like half an hour to an hour to myself to stream. In that, I'll be making the videos that you're seeing on there. So up to you. Want to go and watch the live stream? Want to do shortened videos which are edited, or not at all? It's up to you. But if you do, please hit that subscribe button. You on there as well. Hit that subscribe button. Let me check. Let me check stream's doing okay. All right. Okay, sorry. Let me just get back on here. One thing I'm going to say as well is that. Sorry. One thing I am going to say is as well is that I don't have a season ticket or anything like that. So these games that I'm going to go into, the best and worst, it's based off the games that I've been to. I've been to my fair few games. No, actually, sorry. I should just hit record on this video 1 sec. Sorry, chat. Sorry. So yeah, I just want to preface this by saying these 3 best and these 3 worst that I'm going to go into are based on the ones I've watched. I am not a ticket holder. I said in the previous video, if you watched that on the stream, if you're watching that, I was born in 2007, so I am quite a young fan in comparison to others. So take that into context, because a lot of these are probably going to be quite recent. You're going to probably say, well, where's us getting beat by fucking Berry and shit? And that's not in there because I wasn't alive. So based on games that I've watched. Now, I'm not a season ticket holder. I'm also not rich. If you want to make me rich, please subscribe, because it is my dream to have a season ticket at the club. I do want to go to more games. I turned 18 last year, so I'm nearly 19 now. So I do want to be going to more games, as much games as possible. I don't really have the money, to be honest with you. Obviously, when I was younger, my dad took me to games, so he did whatever. But obviously, he, unlike me, has extra responsibilities with, obviously me at the time and my brother. So mostly, I went to cup games. Still have been to quite a lot of Premier League games, quite a lot of Champions League games. So don't say that. I'm not saying that I haven't at all. I've also been to Wembley a decent few times, so that's going to be coming up quite a bit in this video, particularly with the best, because we went there a fucking lot. But yeah, a lot of these are cup games, so use that as the baseline. Sorry, not the basement. And even fans in my age, some of you might have season tickets, so you even might look at this and go, well, even though it's recent, there's still been a lot worse. As I said, I'm not at every game, simply just because I haven't got the money for that. So take that in mind. But yeah, for me, I'm going to start off with the best, and get into the worst. Usually it's bad news first and good news, but fuck it. I'm a little psycho, so I'm going to get into it with the best first. For me personally, I understand when you want to go to a game, or even just when you're watching the game, you don't have to even go to the game. You obviously want your team to be dominant, because if your team's dominant, that gives you the best chance of winning. But for me, don't get me wrong, obviously I would want that, obviously, because we don't know. There's no guarantee in football that you are going to win. But for me personally, if you said to me, look, you're going to win regardless, would you rather a very dominant win? Doesn't mean you're going to win 5-6-0, but it might be 2 or 3-0. They just don't get a sniff of the ball or anything. Or it's a bit of an up and down game. Both teams are scoring quite a lot. There's chances at either end constantly, but you win. Which one would you rather? Maybe it's me personally, but I would rather the up and down game where we still win, because that's what football's all about. Ups and downs. At the end of it, you want to be the one holding your fist up in the air, saying, hurrah, let's go. Let's fucking do this. I'm not American, by the way, so if you've just seen that clip, I'm not fucking American. I'm a City fan. But yeah, on that kind of note, starting off in first, now please take into account this is not including the second leg, because technically, because of the amount of goals we conceded in this first leg game that I'm going to bring up, is the reason we got knocked out in the second leg. Now, we did technically get robbed in this as well, despite the fact we scored 5 goals. This will probably give you a little hint on what game it is. Aguero got taken now by Subasic, whoever he is, the Monaco goalkeeper. Should have had another pen in that game. I mean, we're shit at pens anyway, don't get me wrong, but good chance we scored that still, technically, on percentages. And that would have got us through to the next round. We could have won the Champions League in Pep's first season, for God's sake. You know what I mean? Robin, bastard, UEFA. Boo, boo, the champ, boo, fuck off. You fucking knobbits. Anyway, you've probably got a little hint of that the game I'm picking is Man City 5, Monaco 3. Now, you might listen to that and go, Monaco. Fucking Monaco was one of the best games you've ever been to. This was probably the best Monaco side, particularly in my lifetime. This was Mbappe in his breakthrough year. Bernardo Silva, who's obviously a club legend with us now, was there. Benjamin Mendy was there. Fabinho was there. João Moutinho at Wolves was there. Thomas Lemar was there. Like, they had a pretty good fucking team. I mean, they got to the semi-finals that year. I think they got knocked out by Juventus at that stage. So, yeah, they were pretty fucking good. They also had Falcao as well, who, I've got to be honest, he probably scored a goal in that game in which something I never do is clap an opposition player when they score against us. Don't get me wrong, still didn't do this game because why the fuck would I do that? But he scored a goal, which is probably the only ever goal which we've conceded, and I've just gone, fair enough, because it was such a good goal. Willie Caballero was playing in goal for us that day because obviously it was the whole situation with like Joao Bravo coming in and whatnot. He chipped Bravo, and it was a lovely chip. Now I should hate him even more the fact that he played for the Shite, but he did also kind of do shite for the Shite, so, and he wasted money for them in doing that. So in a way, even though he played for them, I should thank him for how shite he was and how he ruined them financially. So yeah, nice one, Falcao, mate. Actually, cut that out. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. I can cut it out on you. I can't cut it on you because your stream. But yeah, that for me, very up and down game. I'm pretty sure Mbappe scored in that game as well. I'm pretty sure Stones scored for us. That was his first season. I think Sane scored as well, and Aguero scored as well, probably. I mean, it was a good couple of years ago. I wasn't as 9 at the time because at 10 in the August. So yeah, I was quite young, but that was the game for me. That was the epitome of end of the day, you come out with the win, but still, it's a great game overall. One of those games that even if you were neutral, you wouldn't mind tuning into. Do you know what I mean? On that similar sort of note, the next best game that I've been to, similar to that kind of thing, is when we beat Leicester 6-3 in 21-22. I know you might think Leicester in League One, mate, how the fuck is that a good result? But this was the Leicester side that spent a couple of seasons challenging. I just fucking burped again, mate. Challenging for top 4, but then towards the end of the season, they went a couple of seasons where they fell out of it right at the very end. Bottlers FC, but I mean, they beat us in the Community Shield, which I might bring up later as well. But yeah, that was a very good Leicester side. They had Maddison, they had Tielemans, they had Vardy, Iheanacho, our star boy, Schmeichel in goal. So they had a pretty good team. 4-0 up in the first half. I was talking about dominance, what you want going into a game, obviously, because we don't know in real life that you are going to win. So that's what you want, to win. 4-0 up. Don't know how long it took to get that last of the 4 goals. Going into half time, exactly what you want. Goals, and it's your team scoring every fucking one of them. Second half starts. Again, I can't remember the exact signs on them, but I'm pretty sure it was very, very quickly in the second half. They scored 3 goals. And I'm thinking, Jesus fucking Christ, like, seriously. We're in the midst of a title race with Liverpool. I went right to the very death, as we know. Season of the Villa game, the Gundogan game, actually. I should call it, fuck the Villa game. It's the Gundogan game. He stepped up in that moment. But yeah, it was that season we were going with that for Liverpool. The only one to my memory who had a 4-goal lead and bottled it was that Arsenal against Bottlers FC, mate. Second again. And you might be thinking, well, you won the league, well, in the Carabao Cup. That was where it was all at this year. Well, in the cups, both cups. Yeah, we won both of them, so shush. Still won more trophies than you in your best season in 20 years. So hold that, you pussies. Hold that, Gabriel, especially. I hate him. Fuck him. But yeah, I'm going off topic there. I can't even remember what I was saying now. What was I saying? But yeah, Arsenal was the only one I remember where they took a 4-0 lead and bottled it. It went 4-3. I'm pretty sure there's still quite a while left after they scored the 3rd goal. And I'm just sitting there thinking, not in a title race. Like, I mean, a 4-0, going 4-0 up and not winning the game is a bad thing anyway. Similar sort of thing will be brought up in the worst category when I touch on a game there, which might give you a little inkling to what that was. But yeah, I think Laporte, I don't know if he scored the next goal, but I remember him scoring from a corner, which traditionally we are fucking shiter. You know what I mean? Even nowadays, back then, we scored a couple more probably because there was no tactics behind it. It was just kind of get the ball in the box. And don't really know how we have been as shit as corners and at penalties when we've got such technical and playmaking ability in the squads that we have had over the years. But yeah, we were, and James French coming in hasn't helped a bit. And Ian's got worse. Do you know what I mean? He must be a spy. Came from Liverpool. I'm thinking he might be a spy. But yeah, that was my second one. And then the third one actually stuck between quite a couple here, mainly because of the occasion. Now, as I said, I was born in 2007. We've obviously been to Wembley. Well, I had the chance to go to Wembley quite a lot in my lifetime. The first time I went, however, was 18-19, where we played Chelsea in the Community Shield. As I said before, still great to go to Wembley for the first time and all that. But, you know, Community Shield isn't really that big of a thing. Did play well and all, and we won 2-0. But that same season, I was lucky enough to go. Obviously, this was the domestic treble season. Could say it was formidables. Again, don't count the Community Shield. But that season, I also went to the Carabao Cup final against Chelsea, which we won on pens, and the Watford one, which we won 6-0. I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying. The other ones I was going to think of as well is the Villa one, the season after in the Carabao Cup final in 1920, which was the only cup we won that season, the trophy, sorry. We won that season. I also went to that. And then also, I don't know, this was for you in the comments, probably in the comments also on the live, even though, because no one's in here. Please join next time. I might give a little note just so you know, but please join. But the biggest game in terms of the furthest we've ever been in the Champions League where I went is the quarterfinals. Now, don't get me wrong, overall, it was a shit game because they just sat completely back. But it's when we played at Let's Go Madrid and we won 1-0 in 21-22, De Bruyne scoring. That for me wasn't particularly a great game, kind of similar with the Chelsea one. I actually think the Chelsea one was kind of better, even though there's no goals in that, until the penalties, of course. But the occasion, would you class a quarter-final as probably not a big occasion in an FA Cup final, but would you class that as a bigger game to go to, given that we were playing Watford in the FA Cup final I'm talking about? I don't know, that's for you in the comments, in the chat, in the comments. This is fucking confusing. But yeah, that for me, I said the Chelsea one, it wasn't the most boring 0-0s, don't get me wrong, it's quite an exciting 0-0, but still 0-0 at the end of the day. And even though we won, the main talking point from that was the fact that Kepa wouldn't go off the fucking pitch, and then he stayed on the pitch because he thought, I'm good, depends, mate. And then Aguero hit one right at him and he let it under him. Thank fuck he did that. Thank fuck he stayed on the pitch as well because Caballero was coming on. And we all know as City fans how good Caballero is, saving fucking penalties. So, if anything, I should be thanking Kepa. At the time, I was going mental at him because it's just wasting my fucking time. Wasting my sweet fucking time, but we won end of the day. So, yeah. The Villa game the season after, I think, was a lot of a better game overall. It was 2-1. They had chances. Rodri scored the winning goal. If anything, that just makes me sadder because it looks like he's leaving. You know, how many important goals he scored. Villa goal in the cup final, the Villa goal, the equaliser in the Gundogan game, as I said before. And, yeah, obviously the biggest one of all, Champions League final. So, yeah, he scored some pretty big fucking goals, hasn't he? And he's gone. But yeah, obviously we had that one. Villa had chances in the second half. I think Bravo was playing that day. Obviously, he had a tragic first season. He picked it up in the cups after that when he became a cup keeper, but that's not what we bought him for. But he did make a good save in that one. I think it was from a corner. So he technically kind of saved us in that one. That was a very good game. Foden got man of the match that day, and this was before what I consider to be his proper breakthrough, even though we had his debut before that. Sorry, I'm back. But yeah, there was that one. But for me, I'm going to go with the Watford one because we won 6-0. Company's last ever game for the club. We still didn't. I think we kind of got an inkling that he was, but he didn't actually officially announce it at that point. Obviously, big club legend, the captain, one of the biggest club legends, just because of that reason and what he led us to. And the kind of era restarted as well with the likes of Aguero, Zabaleta and stuff, David Silva, Torre. So yeah, that was quite a good one. We saw a lot of goals. In fairness, Watford fans, I will give you credit for that one. I remember at the end of the game, obviously, big day out. You probably didn't expect to win, don't get me wrong, but you're getting beat 6-0. Watford, I don't think, is that far away from London, so you could have just went home early. They were waving the flags at the last very good minute, so credit to you. But that was a very, very good day. I think the Chelsea one was better because, like I said, it had its ups and downs with the pens and stuff. Because I think we missed. Didn't we miss a pen? And there was kind of a few up and downs, and I think Chelsea might have been in the lead in that at one point. I can't remember correctly, but we win that one at the end of the day. And going into it, I expect us to beat Chelsea, but it wasn't as a certain. Well, I know not as a certainty, but I really expected us to be Watford. Is essentially what I'm saying. Was I wasn't that confident against Chelsea, even though I still thought we would win. So you could argue that. Leave it in the comments. What do you think? That one's mainly based on occasion. So what would you put for that one? And then we get into the worst. I know a lot of them games have been in the last couple of years under Pep. There's going to be a couple more under Pep, if I'm being honest. But, well, I mean, Pep's been 10 years of my 18 years. And the first 8 years, well, I was 8. So if you're going to have that argument, I'm obviously going to know more ball, know what I'm fucking seeing, and actually know the consequences and the glories of what actually winning and losing means, instead of just, being like, oh yeah, you blew, kick it into that goal and whatnot. So if you want to have a go somewhere else. But the game that I'm starting off with is we got beat by Middlesbrough in 14-15 under Pellegrini. I talked in the last video in the kind of rallying one, little rant where I went on where we need to stick together as a club about some of the dark times we had under the likes of Pellegrini, even though we still won stuff under him. 14-15 was probably one of the worst seasons in years. We won nothing, got knocked out into the cup by Middlesbrough. Yeah, I mean, as I said before, usually, especially when I was younger, a lot of the games I went to were cup games, and even the Prem games that I went to, Champions League games that I went to, when my dad was taking me especially. I mean, even now I try and sit in South Stand, but I sit in the top tier as much as possible because I think it gives a culmination, big word for me, of atmosphere and a view of the pitch. So I think that's the best for me personally. But usually when I was younger, I'd sit mostly in the East Stand, but also sometimes in the Colin Bell Stand. Obviously not in the hospitality, because that kind of goes against everything I'm saying with the money we had and stuff. Not that I was poor or anything. But I used to sit in the top stand. This Middlesbrough game was the first ever time I got into sit in the bottom tier. Didn't actually really mean anything because, I feel like I thought some of the players were going to say hello to me or something. I wasn't sitting that close to the front. But I was close to the pitch. It was a big thing for, at the time, 7-year-old me. And now again, 2015, 2007, that's 8 years, mate. I was born in August, which means it would have been in the 15-16 season. So do your maths correctly. But sitting at the bottom for the very first time, this fixture, okay, again, like I said, I was 7, so I might not knew it fully myself, the actual stakes of the game and stuff. But especially looking at now, Middlesbrough, who are in the Championship still, and now I know, but they have been in the Prem since this game, sorry. They were in the Championship still at this time, however. Seems pretty much on the face of it, especially if it happened now, like a bit of a banker of a game. We should be winning that. I remember 1-0 down, a chase for a goal. I'm pretty sure it was Aguero who gave the ball away. It might have been someone else on the edge of the box. They go running off. I'm sitting in the stand, lower tier. Middlesbrough fans, I don't know the way, just looking on the video. I'm pointing to my left. Obviously, right there, I'm looking at them. Patrick Bamford, I'm pretty sure, scored. I think he was on loan. And I'm looking at them. They're going mental. And I'm sitting there, little 7-year-old me, chuffed. And I'm sitting in the bottom tier. And it ends in shite. We lost 2-0 to Middlesbrough in the FA Cup. I'm pretty sure it was the first round we played as well. So, yeah. That was pretty fucking shit. We want to talk about pretty fucking shit. One that I was old enough to know the full stakes of the game of. One where we were in my lifetime, like I mentioned in the previous video. And I know this isn't anywhere near as bad as some of you just had to go through in, mainly the main road days and stuff. But when we're in 11 divisions, well, when we're at main road, but you know what I mean. But that period that we were going through under Pep in 24-25, 1 win, 13 games, which we haven't even completed the full thing of at this time, I'm pretty sure. We had Liverpool the weekend. Liverpool obviously ran away with the league that season. We're playing horribly shite. We have Liverpool was the game of the weekend was at Anfield. Horrible record there anyway, even we're on much better form than they are. We're going into that one. I'm dreading it already because how shite we're playing. They're dominating the league. Feyenoord comes up in the midweek I'm there at the Etihad, ready for this one, hoping we can just end this bit of a rut. At least go into the Anfield game with a little. Maybe we can just nick a little win. Just something. Even though that's like the biggest of hopes that I'm clinging on to. At least it was something. We didn't actually play particularly well. Don't get me wrong. 75 minutes though, we're 3-0 up. We're doing our thing. We actually might be back. We might have ended the rut. That might be it. We might go on a bit of a run now, obviously, barring the Liverpool game. What happens in the next 15 minutes? We can see 3 goals and 3-3. And bearing in mind, by the way, this wasn't, I'm talking about the Liverpool game a lot that came after that. This wasn't like a fucking game where we secured the Champions League places. We actually had to go down to the last day against Club Brugge, in which we were losing half time, which I also went to, by the way. But we won that one, so that's not going to be my worst games. That told you how bad we were that season, and we couldn't even hold on to a 3-0 lead. 15 minutes to go with Feyenoord. And I'm pretty sure we bought Rico Lewis on that day. So we're talking about players that we can criticise the club for. Rico Lewis. I know there's no shooters. There's a fucking reason for that. Why the fuck did we not sell him to Forest last season? Yeah. Enough rambling on. That's probably the worst one in terms of the Middlesbrough one. I was a kid. I was chuffed that I was sitting. Chuffed, I keep saying that. I was dead happy that I was sitting at the bottom tier and that I was watching my team play. And I was a bit upset as a kid. Didn't cry or anything, don't get me wrong. But this Feyenoord one, I actually fully was aware of what's going on. I'm old enough now at this stage. I was like 16 or 17. So I know what's going on. I know the state we're in as a team. And that was diabolical. I mean, there's been some games which I've been speechless on whether I went to them or not. That one, I've never seen anything with it with my two own eyes. And then the third one is actually from this season, which, again, you listen to my worst games. If you're an older fan, probably nowhere near your worst games. Well, I feel sorry for you. It's actually from this season, which you might say it's a bit harsh, but I've gone with the Leverkusen game. It was one of the most dire performances I've ever seen, genuinely. I mean, 2-0 we lost. Again, we're not at a point where we're fully secured the league position or anything. Again, went down to the last day against Galatasaray where we needed a win. And even then, we only just snuck through because Madrid got beat by Benfica. And for some reason, I don't even remember. I don't think we were playing someone massive the weekend. I could be wrong on that. But Pep decided he's going to change the whole 11. Trafford in goal, right back, right wing combo. Savinho with the right wing, Rico Lewis at right back. Yeah. You can imagine how that went. Marmouche up front as well. I mean, I don't know how good Leverkusen are on the ball, but even if they're good, we made them look like prime Barcelona because it was the most half-assed press ever, which is probably the worst thing you can do because you either drop back, then they have to do something, or you press them and you're mad on them. A half press means that you're just going out of position and they're pressing around you. I mean, Flecken looked like he was calm as prime minister on the ball, and I watched Flecken at Brentford. He was never that calm on the ball. I mean, I have a lot to say about that game. I mean, the thing that summed it up, the thing that kind of summed Savinho up as well as the performance itself. 89th minute, I think it was. I'm watching him run down the right wing. He's actually got space. Probably not going to get anything from the game, but just sort of, mate, please just sort of, no one's near him. What's he do? Trips over the fucking ball. Like, this is what we've got. This is what we've got. We need to get rid of these lots, seriously. I was talking about criticism. I'm not going to Ash. I'm not going to say Viana out. I'm not going to say Maresca out. I'm not going to say all that. Savinho and Rico Lewis, mate. All due respect. I know you're young, but you're older than me, so get the fuck out the club. But yeah, some honourable mentions in that. I have the Community Shield game against Leicester, which was in the same season as that 6-3 game at the start of that season, obviously. That one didn't hit in terms of the game as much. Again, I was old enough to understand the meaning behind that game. As I said, Community Shield for me isn't a big game, but it was just the fact that this was when the Euros got pushed back, so a lot of the players were let, like they are this season with the World Cup, to have a bit more of a rest to be on holiday and stuff. So he played quite a lot at the second team. There was still some players, I think Diaz played that day, because they got knocked out quite early in the Euros. But like Samuel Edozie, who's now at Southampton, he was playing and stuff like that. So, I mean, they get to see Grealish's debut and stuff when we bought him for 100 mil, obviously. But that was just more the fact that my dad drove us up. It's a long fucking way there. We're going there for a Community Shield, just thinking, not a big game, but we get to go to Wembley. Probably see us lift Sutton. We don't lift Sutton. And people talk about match reactions. Even when I am going to games, if I do a match reaction, I'm doing it when I get back home, because that game was the epitome of why I would never do match reaction straight outside the ground, because when you watch the game in the ground, it's completely different at home. Again, it wasn't that big of a thing, but I remember Nathan Acker gave a pen away in the last minute. When I was watching in the ground, I thought, that's never a pen. I watched it in the Mackeys and one of the service stations on the way home. Well, a pen. Do you know what I mean? So I would have looked like a complete tit if I did a match reaction after the game, even though obviously it wouldn't have been. It would have been that ragey for that one in particular because it was a Community Shield. That one is, and also I have the Real Madrid loss from a couple of years ago. Now, it's not the biggest and most upsetting Real Madrid loss we've had. The most upsetting Real Madrid loss we had was probably 21-22, or even the one on pens a couple of years ago in 23-24. This one is the 24-25 one. Yes, we were shit yesterday. Probably you would expect them to beat us, maybe because we were on such a bad run of form and stuff that season, but it was the fact that we were 2-1 up. We've got like 5 minutes left. Ederson, yes, this was his last season. This is when fans are really getting on his back now. And yes, he had started going a bit dodgy with his kicking and stuff, but Ederson, your number one thing is kicking the ball out. We were fine. They actually weren't really creating a whole lot, especially in the second half. 2-1 up, 5 minutes to go. Just see it out, lad. What's he do? Kicks the ball straight to them. They make it 2-2. That completely changed the way the game went, and they went 3-2. Do you know what I mean? So, again, a bit like the final one, the fact that we had a lead that late on. This was even later on in the game, and this one we lost. Yeah, just a bit of a shit feeling. That's an honourable mention. I am interested to hear what your 3 best and your 3 worst games are, because there's obviously going to be a difference in age and stuff as well, plus some of you have like season tickets and stuff, which I said I don't have. Obviously, I hope to have one. If you want to make that happen for me, you want to make it, well, I'm 18 now, so I look about 34. So I'm 18 and I look probably double my age, what I'm saying, basically. But yeah, I mean, that's irrelevant. Still a young lad, aren't I? You know what I mean? If Sabino's a young lad, then I'm a young lad. So yeah, if you want to make a young lad's dream come true, then subscribe, because that'll give me more money, and that mean eventually I can go more games and eventually get a season ticket. Dream come true. But yeah, what do you think? That's the second video done, lads. If you're watching on the stream, I'm happy if you stayed. Hopefully you didn't feel too much like I was. I know I was making a video on stream whilst you were watching me, but I'm hoping that it still felt interactable with, even though there's no one in the chat, but to anyone watching this after, big ups to you. Yeah. In a bit, if you want to see more of this, leave it in the comments. Probably just be a weekly thing, because I mean I've just got 2 videos out of this one stream, so pretty good. Well, knowledge for that one needed. But yeah, in a bit. Peace.